Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gaming Pubcast, episode number 18. I don't have to think about that because Duncan literally told me just before I'm back. I hope you missed me. Well,
Yay! Of course we did.
Did see the horror one, which I enjoyed. I still need to watch the other one that came out on Monday, so I apologise. So anything I might repeat that you've already said.
I'm still
Anyway.
hiding behind the sofa on a lot of games.
Yeah, no. So what I
Alan
found
Wake.
from the horror one, Duncan, is that you play horror games, but not like not necessarily you enjoy it when you.
I can enjoy them in short bursts,
and
then
from behind the couch.
After that first short burst, never again. Except for Alan Wake 2. I'm still, we can go on to what we're playing. I am working my way through Alan Wake 2, and it is a fantastic game. It looks good. It plays really well. There's some quite hard puzzles in there, actually. I say hard. They're not like, oh my God, I have to look up a guide for this. But there are sometimes you have to think about it. And so, yeah, highly recommend it. It's a 9 out of 10 game. 9 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
If I could stop looking at certain places. I did literally the other day, in fact yesterday, do a bit where I walked backwards because I couldn't look. I knew something was going to suddenly appear or jump out, but unfortunately what are the jump scares are literally the screen flashes something up. Yeah.
I feel like we need to, me and Martin need to converse with your missus, and as you say that next time, have her walking up behind you.
Thankfully our sofa is against the wall, so she ain't going to do that. No, I don't think she's as much of a wuss as me, maybe. I don't know. But she doesn't like horror films, so she's not interested in watching me play it either. To hold my hand. So yeah, I've been playing that. Whilst I've been playing on the PS2 games still, working my way through that. Haven't played them much this week, but I'm on some G games. And I can't for the life of me remember what I've downloaded. But yeah, some games begin with G, which when we got more time another week, I'll carry that journey on. And that's about all I've been playing this week.
Alan Wake 2.
Alan Wake and PS2 stuff.
I have seen the reviews. The reviews are pretty positive about it. So worth the scares. And Duncan, obviously, if you're still playing it, then it's obviously must be a good sign that the game is good. So for myself, I haven't really been playing much, and it's I have been playing a lot, but one particular game, which there's not really much that I can talk about because it was EA FC, I think it's called now.
Oh, FC 24.
No longer FIFA because they fell out with FIFA. I haven't played like a FIFA game since 2017. So the last one I played, and I got really into that and played it loads and loads and loads. Did the Ultimate Team. Got to a point where I got to Division 1 in one of the season, which is like a top 1% of the player base on FIFA. Nice. I've realised though the delay, the time of not playing it, my skills has diminished in that time, and I've played it now, and I'm getting better, but I'm nowhere near as I was. But I have realised.
Is it massively changed in gameplay? Would you say somebody who hasn't played it for that much?
You can pick it up if you played some of the game. You could pick up and play against the computer easy enough. But yeah, online, like passing, I find a lot more difficult because they get cut out a lot more. Defending, I did always find defending quite difficult anyway, but that's probably even more difficult because you've got to make sure not to go too much details, but I've realised that you can't really control your defenders only right at the last minute, because if you bring your defenders out, they just pass it and then their players are through and goal, which I realised sort of to my own expense when I was about 10-0 down when I was playing online. So, but I don't do that anymore, but I have realised how addictive it is because it is sort of just all I play at the moment because I'm on the Ultimate Team, and I realised as a child, I used to be addicted to like opening Pokemon cards. More probably the anticipation of what was in the pack, and now I've got the equivalent of an adult because I don't really.
A couple of countries have banned the loot box system, haven't they?
Yeah, I haven't spent any money on it yet, but I've played it a lot,
Good,
so I
good
can
man.
get
That's a
coins.
big yeah.
Yeah.
But
Are you?
that's the thing. If
Yeah.
if as you get older, I don't. Yeah, as a child, I wouldn't have been able to resist things like that.
Yeah, exactly. If you had the option as a child, if it was through your
I can
adults,
understand
your
why
parents,
people, have these. Oh, my child spent £1,000 on my credit card. Well, number one, what are you doing letting your child having parental controls that means they can buy anything without your permission?
yeah,
Exactly.
But then you get kids that are older that have done it, who, as my stepson's got older, he's had less controls. Still can't buy anything on Xbox, I think, without my permission.
yeah, because you've heard story about Roblox. Is it Roblox?
Roblox, yes. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Which is
another
like the
one.
one that they spend
Oh,
a lot of money
Robux, yes.
on. Fortnite as well. Obviously, like skins and stuff like that, don't they? So there
But
are.
you can earn all these things in FIFA for free, technically, can't you? Because you
You
just
can't
get
if
the
you
gold
have to play
coins
it. Yeah, you have to play it a lot, and
a
see,
lot.
if you win, you get more. So if you're not very good at it, but I am getting better now, so I'm winning more than I'm losing. So I'm starting to get more coins as a result. And then when you first start as well, you start going for like the objectives, and then there's like daily objectives as well,
I,
just to keep you coming back on it, isn't it?
I
So
actually bought the first ever Ultimate Team because it was a paid DLC. It was only something like about $1.99 or something, but it was on FIFA 12 or something, and it was so much easier then because there wasn't much microtransactions, and you could win a lot of gold, and so yeah, it was really good. It was paid DLC, so it was selective of. There wasn't as many people desperately trying to to win everything, but and a lot of people were just like, oh, why do I need that? And the next year they threw it in for free, and that's it. It just
they added the
exploded.
yeah, and I know like there's frustrations about some games, which they tend to. It's less now what that like pay to win, where if you the more money you spend on it, the better you end up being on the game.
Candy Crush.
So I know with like Call of Duty and all that, like, it's more just skins, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you're not buying things to make you better at the game. It's just what you look like. So I know like Destiny, that was like another game where you could like easily spend sort of money on it. But anyway, Tom, I don't want to spend too much time talking about EFFC or AF 2024. How's your what have you been
What's your
playing?
gaming week been?
Well, I have been playing Aliens Fireteam Elite on the PS5.
Okay.
Sort of a top-down first-person shooter. You play up to 4 players, and you're essentially going around the spaceship and being attacked by aliens. It's that simple, and you shoot and you collect power-ups, and it's good.
Yeah, so
Graphically, it's
it's
good.
on Game Pass, I believe. Is it on
It's going to
Yeah.
be
Plus?
it is being released on PlayStation Plus. I don't know if it has, but it is one of the November games. So
It is the free game this month. I already owned it anyway, but just never bothered to really put any time in. And because I saw it on there, I thought, right, come on, get the disc out. Let's get it in and let's play. And yeah, it's good. It's a bit samey. It's not as good as the previous Alien game where we were saying it's one of the scare games that we
I
mentioned in the
know
previous.
Isolation is an absolute classic, but
Yeah.
I was,
But yeah, what was the other one I've been playing? Lord of the Rings on the Amstrad. Now, I know. A dreadful follow up to the Hobbit release, a similar game to the Amstrad. It came with the Lord of the Rings book included in the casing,
nice.
which was quite fantastic. And yeah, it's dreadful. There's not much to say, but it's actually dreadful. It's a text adventure.
Yeah, I'm just looking up pictures of it. So, but it has
Hmm.
some pictures, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Very
It
basic
does. Yeah.
pictures.
There's not really much to say about it apart from it's terrible. The Hobbit is fantastic, but this one is terrible. And the problem is, it's so bad. I feel like I have to keep playing. So I will probably carry on playing for another couple of hours because it won't have much more than that in the game. But yeah, the fact that the book's in it for me, I think I must own about 15 copies of Lord of the Rings anyway. But yeah, it is what it is.
Only
for an Amstrad
15?
game.
You're not much of a fan then, are you?
I'm just terrible, terrible. So yeah, but yeah, that's been me this week. Pretty lame, really.
So, I mean, text games, all that. Everyone says about how games don't last long this time, but this is why you had guides or you didn't look at guides because the puzzles were so hard or sometimes obscure. You had to try about 1,000 different commands in one area, in a specific area, and it would take you weeks and weeks and weeks, months even, to finish a game. Whereas when you got a guide, you were like, yeah, tap, 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 tap. Oh, it's been 1 hour and I've finished the game. And so I can imagine, it's probably another one of those where you get the guide nowadays off Game FAQs or lots of other sites, and it's probably done.
The worst thing is when you play the Amstrad game, especially nowadays, you load up the initial level with the loading screen and the whirring noise. Great, play through the first level, press play on the tape, load the second level. Great, get to the next stage and it says syntax error B, and you have to start all over again. Very irritating.
Saving a game as well back in the tape days, you had to record. You had to get blank tape and literally record, and that was in games that you could do that.
Mm-hmm. You can get an EverDrive now or a similar concoction to an EverDrive for the Amstrad. You can have a complete ROM set on there, which is something I plan to purchase at some stage. But
was that Evercade thing?
It plugs into the back where the printer connection goes, and you can load on with a memory card a full collection.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
Lovely.
So it's something I will explore, but I want to get my hands on it first and have a play. And then, so if there's any developers of that piece of kit out there that want to send one over, we can always review it for you.
Tom will happily review it for you.
I will.
I'd love to. Well, I think we've all had quite a eclectic mix of games today, haven't we?
Different, yeah. We went from EA 24 to Lord of the Rings, Amstrad.
Indeed.
84, 85, yeah.
Pretty well. It's the Amstrad. It's got to be pretty old, isn't it? But...
Came out late 80s, is it? Late 80s, something like that.
86, wasn't it? I think.
Oh, no, 86.
What, the Amstrad or the game?
Now you're asking. Lord of the Rings Game 1, Amstrad came out in 1985. Although
it was a follow-up to the 1982 game, The Hobbit.
The Hobbit, yes.
Yeah. So the Amstrad CPC 464 came out on the 11th of April 84. An introductory price with a green monitor of £199 or colour monitor for £299. There we are.
And if you enjoyed that game so much, Tom, there is a sequel to it, The Shadows of Mordor. The Game 2 of Lord of the Rings was released in 1987. So just to keep that
eyeing that up.
Nice.
I did manage to acquire a copy of Final Fight on the Amstrad.
Fantastic game.
Yeah, and
it was a fantastic game on some platforms. I think there was some that the restrictions were a bit restrictive. It wasn't very good on the Spectrum.
No. Well, this is a Kicks game. The budget labels back then, you had Hit Squad, Kicks, whatever. And Kicks released a big box version. And then there was a very rare normal cassette version. You can't get it anywhere. I've never seen it. And someone sold me a collection of 3 games, which were from a raffle. Paid £2 for the raffle ticket. Turns out that the Final Fight copy in that is worth about £50-60. So one did well.
Not bad, not bad. But I think, so on that note, we've got a bit of news, sorry. Haven't we? There's the 2 bits. I think one thing that I think lots of people were excited for was GTA 6. What have they announced? I think you've both seen this, haven't you?
Yeah.
That Rockstar
they haven't really announced much, have they?
They've announced the announcement.
Yeah. Trailers coming in December, but
that's
enough to get people excited.
Exactly. There's not many games or series of games that can get an announcement of an announcement.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, obviously GTA it is pretty much, in terms of money, one of the biggest sellers of all time.
What's your
Yeah.
prediction for GTA 6? Do you reckon it'll be the biggest game ever when it was released?
Yeah,
In
probably
terms of most
fastest
successful?
selling. Yeah. I mean, I will buy it most likely, unless it turns out to be an absolute steaming pile. And I will buy digital so I can wait until the day it comes out and literally go click, download, done.
Mm.
I can
I
see
don't
it
think it's
being
going to do as good this
200
time.
gigabyte.
So
Yeah, it'd be big.
you don't think it's going to be as successful?
I think it will have its moment at the beginning, but after that, I think it will fizzle out really quickly. I think gaming's changed. It's a very
Yeah.
fickle community nowadays.
But then GTA Online is still printing money for them, like left, right, and
Yeah.
centre. Hence
Yeah.
why they've dumped Red Dead Online, because people just left that straight away. So if obviously that does mean them getting GTA 6 online, right?
Well, apparently the new game's coming to the iPhone as well. I know, and the Oculus. So, sorry, the Meta Quest. So we will see.
I mean, I can see maybe though it would probably be, although obviously the new iPhone is very good, seeing as they got Resident Evil Village on it. I can see GTA 6 maybe them going, this is a version of it. It won't have online. It won't have this. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to push the boundaries of graphics, but it is going to look very good. It's going to be a big map that is also going to be, apparently they're making it so it will be expandable because it is Vice City, whereas what's it called? Where was GTA 5? San Andreas. No, not San Andreas.
Well, GTA 5 is...
GTA 5. Los Santos. So Los Santos was basically an island, whereas they're making this GTA 6, expandable. So and it'll be like the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 played GTA 5 no problem, and as soon as they put new things in, they went, "Yeah, we're not going to give you any of that anymore." Sorry. So yeah, people will probably still want to buy it on your major consoles. I think one big thing is whether it'll be on Switch 2. I presume that they're aiming for that.
Are we going to get it on PlayStation 5, or is it just going to be Xbox exclusive?
Oh, no, it'll be on every platform. Take-Two aren't owned by anybody, and they don't generally have exclusivity with anything.
GTA used, like the initial, like GTA 3 and Vice City and San Andreas, they were like PlayStation exclusive, weren't they?
Yeah, they did go to...
When I used to own Xbox, they ended up on Xbox.
Yeah, San Andreas eventually went on to Xbox.
But it took a while, so... but yeah, I mean, GTA 6, I mean, the trailer is already breaking record. I don't know. Well, it's there online. It's already breaking record, but the trailer hasn't been released.
The trailer hasn't been released, yeah.
So maybe the anticipation of the trailer is it got 1.4 million likes since being viewed.
What did Ghostbusters get? That's out today.
The Ghostbusters trailer?
Yeah,
I have watched that. I was on IMDb earlier watching that. That looks interesting.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's got Dan Aykroyd in it in the trailer, and apparently Bill Murray and what's his name? The other one. Oh, not Egon. Anyway, it's got all the old guys in it. Winston, that's the one. It's got them in it, and all the new guys. Yeah, the young one from Stranger Things and
Mike.
Mike, that's the one.
That's what he's called in the trailer.
Mike in Stranger Things. Yeah, isn't he called something Wolf Hard or something?
Yeah, it is.
He's got a really cool name. Should be good. But yeah, we digress.
We do, as always.
So that was a bit of news, wasn't it? What's the other bit of news we got? Oh, the
Steam Deck.
Steam Deck.
Steam Deck.
Steam Deck OLED edition. Now, I don't know if you two have looked up the details of this, but
I have. Yeah.
it's OLED screen. It's got a better APU that's not more powerful, just more power efficient. It has a slightly bigger screen as well, 7.4 inch. And but it's still the same size bar. I think it's 1 millimeter thicker. So so ain't much difference.
Better joysticks.
And also, apparently, a 1 terabyte is going to be available from day one. So to purchase from Valve instead of having to upgrade, like
apparently also
everybody
it
else
charges 30 to 50% faster than the original Steam Deck.
I think it lasts longer as well. It's 30 to 50% longer battery life because it's got a 50-watt battery instead of a 50-watt hour instead of a 45-watt hour, something like that, I think. So all in all, a fantastic upgrade. Fantastic upgrade.
Just looking at it now. Play longer, download faster, has 30 to 50% more battery life. So
there you go. So
you're going to buy one, Duncan?
No. The fact that I've had mine so long and I haven't got any money to buy one at the moment. No, I'll be keeping mine, but it is good to know that they are. Or if mine does break and I have to buy another one, I have to. Then there will be the option of buying a prettier one with the battery lasts longer. But I'm somebody who I don't play on the commute. I don't play while sitting on the beach or while fishing or something. I sit at home or sit in bed where there's a plug right next to me and I can charge. So I'm not really that bothered. I've never played the Switch OLED, so I've never had an OLED screen on like that. Obviously, phones are, I've had a nice bright phone screen. But yeah, so I'm not that bothered myself, but it is a fantastic upgrade, and it will get.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the original Steam Deck price now that the OLED is coming out, because
they have reduced it at the moment. I believe it's by something like $50 or something.
Oh.
Don't quote me on that. But so if people do want to get one, now's the time, because I think eventually they will probably stop making the original one. I don't know. I'll just
wait for my son to get bored, and I'll take his.
They're such a fantastic thing. It's completely revolutionised gaming, I think, for me, because I can just go. I can get it on multiple devices, and one of them I could sit on the toilet.
Yep,
love
always
it.
Good.
Absolutely
always good that when you can play games on the toilet.
I agree fully. and you can play your PlayStation on the Steam Deck as well, remote play.
Yes, yeah, and you can play Game Pass cloud, like cloud gaming.
There's nothing you can't do.
Yeah, you can stream from a desktop PC as well. You can stream GeForce Now. You can emulate incredibly easy with things like EmuDeck. And is it EmuDeck or EmuDeck?
I think it's EmuDeck, EMU.
Well, it is EMU, but then emulation or emulation. I don't know.
It's one of those mysteries.
Yeah.
VR works on it as well. You can link the VR headset up to it, and it will work.
It will with the less demanding games. You can't start playing Half-Life Alyx on it. It will just cry at you if you try and do that. But no, I love it. I absolutely love my Steam Deck. It's my highlight of the last probably 5 years, and that's with me buying the Series X as well.
They should put that on their advertising campaign.
Duncan Nash's highlights.
I can play on it. I can play it on the toilet.
I can play while pooping.
The highlight of the last 5 years while pooping.
Indeed. So fantastic. And now even even better, there's so many people I remember on the Steam Deck Reddit when it was coming out were like, "Oh, I'm not getting one until they bring out an OLED," and they're not doing that. Well, now they have, so you can buy one, you picky people.
And they've specified it's not Steam Deck 2. There is
It
Steam
is
Deck
not.
2.
It is exactly the
work.
same, like CPU power, GPU. Well, it's an APU. It's just literally more power efficient, and because the screen is OLED, that's more efficient as well, and slightly bigger battery. So yeah, highly recommend.
I think I read that we won't.
So, are you buying one tomorrow or the day after, Martin?
No, I'm the only one here who done it on Steam Deck. So when's this OLED version coming out?
I believe November 16th. I think I looked up. I will double check that.
It's my birthday on Monday, so
get some
well, there you go.
That would be quite an extreme present.
On the 16th of November at 6 p.m. UK time, priced at $549.
Yeah.
Generally, if it's £1, it's $1 kind of thing. So $549 for a 512 gigabyte, or $649 for a 1 terabyte model. There's also a lower $400 price right now for the 256 gigabyte LCD model.
I'll let my mum
which is sticking
know
around.
that I would accept the lower version for my birthday.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a 64 gigabyte, you can upgrade nowadays to a 1 terabyte quite easily for about £60 for a 2230.
I would ask my partner, but I'd ask my partner, but the money would come out of our joint account, so I would
so
be
you'd be paying for it yourself
anyway. So yeah, but no, it's definitely something I do want to get, but probably not for a little while while my partner's on maternity leave, because a little bit.
Babies! I don't know. What are they? There's ruined gaming.
I know. If I knew the Steam Deck was going to bring out an OLED version, maybe I'd have delayed.
Steam Deck, baby. Oh, which one?
In a minute, we're going to see a cushion thrown at his head.
I know. Luckily, she's upstairs, so unless she's trying to keep my voice down, so she can't hear.
Yeah. Dangerous times.
I think that's all the big news, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now we're handing over to you two, because we're going to chat about
the Super Nintendo.
Yay!
Or what was it called in Korea?
The Super Convoy. Was it
That's
Super Convoy?
Super Convoy.
I don't know why it didn't catch on in the West. In the Famicom.
In South Korea, it is called the Super Convoy and was distributed by Hyundai. There you go.
I think Sanyo also released one as well. So, but yeah, Super Nintendo released in the UK in April 1992, and in the rest of the world was June, July, and August of the following 2 years. Went on to actually sell nearly 50 million units worldwide. So it was it was a big seller, but it didn't even come close to the console before the Nintendo Entertainment System, which sold hundreds of millions of units, and continues to sell in Brazil right now. So does the Super Nintendo, weirdly. Support was dropped to around about 2005 in the UK. So it really did have a lifespan. One of the well-known final games that we would be aware of would be Super Mario World 2 and Donkey Kong 3. Those were absolutely phenomenal games, although Super Mario World 2 did have the crying baby in it, Baby Mario, and it was very irritating, to say the least.
I've got to say, I played this game recently, and after playing Super Mario World 2, I'm not enjoying it as much, to be honest.
No. I think it used the Super FX 2 chip in there, or some division of that. But it was almost like hand-drawn Crayola artwork. It was very unique in its style.
Wasn't a fan.
No. Some of the release games that came out for it, we had F-Zero, which is the futuristic hover racing game, which was really great. We had Super Mario World, and later on in its life, we had multiple copies of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat without the blood.
Although I
Yeah.
think they did find out that the blood was in there eventually, didn't they? There was a code or something.
Was that Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that somebody eventually, or there was an action replay code or something like that. But yeah,
So
it was
the
more
blood was
accessible.
green, wasn't it, in the Super Nintendo version, and
Yeah.
in the Mega Drive, which
No, the
was
Mega Drive, there was just a code that you could put in, I think, on with the controller, and the blood was there. And I think they removed that ability in the Super Nintendo, but
right.
I think that the ability to turn it red was still there. It just wasn't accessible without an action replay, because an action replay was basically a hacking module. So yeah.
So my sort of knowledge of Super Nintendo, as we're briefly chatting before on the before we started the podcast, was more appreciate it now more than I do probably than I back then, because I was quite young when it came out, and I did have, and it's very brief as well, because we had the Sega Mega Drive at the time. You couldn't have one or the other because it was quite tribal, wasn't it, back then?
Oh
So,
yes.
you would end up having, you went round your friend's house, they had a Super Nintendo, and you had a Sega Mega, you weren't friends anymore. So you had to make that decision. So I went down the Sega train. But since then, I have really realised how good of a console and how how many good games there was on there. Because a lot of the games I play still today originate from the Super Nintendo. So like Donkey Kong Country, as you've mentioned, got all three on my Wii U. Still, like the gameplay is just as good as anything you would find nowadays. Mario All Stars, Super Mario Kart. The first, obviously, Mario Kart came from Super Nintendo, and we know how big and popular that genre is. I say genre, it's just Mario Kart, isn't it? I know
How great is
the kart racing genre was started by Nintendo. If anyone mentions a platformer, every gamer goes straight to Mario pretty much. Literally, if you're playing a Metroidvania, it's Metroid. It's from Nintendo, the Castlevania, which started on Nintendo. And yeah, I mean they're just they are gaming if you want to go that far.
There's not like that many games where you can think all that back to 30 years plus ago, and they're still making like Zelda, Mario. They're all pretty much Nintendo, aren't they? I know there are like we just said about Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, which were back then. They still make games, but on the whole, it's.
But that's the thing with Nintendo. It was always about family-friendly games, and okay, you had things like Street Fighter, but Street Fighter they wouldn't have made because it was violence, hence the green blood in Mortal Kombat. Because I'm surprised even back then I was surprised that they even allowed that, because they didn't allow much, and then they sort of softened as the SNES got older.
I think it was more because of Sega, the Mega Drive, wasn't it? I think they sort of softened and relaxed their rules because Sega had that against them, didn't they? Like, well, look, we have blue blood, not green blood. But so Tom, because I know you are already it's one of your favorite consoles, isn't it? The Super Nintendo. I don't know if it is your favorite. Is out that Nintendo, the NES and the SNES, which one did you prefer?
Mine was the SNES all the way. I had a friend that had the NES, and we'd go around and play Star Wars on there and Turtles and things. But for me, Christmas 1991, I've never admitted this, but maybe I did mention it on one of the other podcasts, but me and my cousin we unwrapped our Street Fighter 2 box Super Nintendo 3 months before Christmas and played it to death, completed the game.
With or without your parents' knowledge?
Oh, they didn't know. They didn't know. We literally slid it back in the wrapping paper every day, skiving off school. And then we did get caught eventually, skiving off school, but we still managed to rewrap the Super Nintendo before we got caught. So we completed Street Fighter 2 way before that, and we even had the action replay and managed to do the hack to get the bosses. But the bosses were just in silhouette, so that's how you played the bosses, and they were like black silhouettes. That's all you could use. And we used to go down to Comet in Crewe and play Super Mario World before it came out. So that was the intro, and I used to stand there playing it for hours. And I think I got about 2/3 through the game. Never completed it, but I got 2/3 through the game in Comet, and there was always a little crowd around watching, and it's a good memory, really good memory.
Yeah, I mean, with in terms of the playing games before they came out, I mean that's the thing. People, probably younger people, don't realise that the Super Nintendo, it was released over 4 years apparently. If I'm going by Wikipedia, came out in Japan November 1990, came out in Russia November 1994. So now granted that was a year after the previous one. Like in South America, it came out in August '93, but that's still 3 years. Could you? I mean, granted, things like the Steam Deck were restricted in different areas, but nowadays movies are almost worldwide simultaneous, but they're normally within a month of each other. Games are normally, again, even if they are different in different areas, they're within a week or two. Very, very rarely, but back in the day, we were all sitting there reading about how Japan was playing this awesome new console, and we didn't get it for another year and a half.
And the Super Nintendo was the console that really did change gaming. It was essentially the first machine to have internet-based gaming through the Satellaview.
It wasn't strictly internet, was it? It was like satellite, yeah.
So it was. They had it was kind of a weird one. They had
like a TV. It was like a TV signal, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it could beam down games, and there was some kind of multiplayer function to it. And you had like a 2-player F-Zero that appeared on it. You had Mario Excite Bike, which was basically Mario Kart but on bikes. Bit of an unknown one.
Excite Bike, yeah.
I know. And then obviously you had things like the Super Scope, which was the big gun.
Oh yes, it looked more like a bazooka, didn't it? Really, it
did. Yeah.
Yeah, the two handles and
that's it. Yeah, Sega had the Menacer gun, and of course, Super Nintendo. Then, and I hate this story because it's been told so many times, but Nintendo, partnered with Sony to create an add-on for the Super Nintendo so it could release 32-bit CD-ROMs. They had a special name for them. Can't remember it. And then screwed Sony over and partnered with Philips, who were the makers of the CDI, which we were discussing earlier. So had it not been for that screw over, then maybe
we wouldn't have the PlayStation.
PlayStation, yeah. So the Super Nintendo essentially changed the industry.
It was a pivotal one, yeah, definitely.
Was the Super Nintendo the first console that had 3D graphics, or am I wrong in saying
it had the
enhanced chip, didn't it? Which
it had the FX chip that appeared on Star Fox.
But that was in the cartridges, wasn't it? That wasn't actually
in the
console.
Because it was done by Argonaut Software, I think it was called. They did the FX chip too as well. So.
Mega Drive did their own version with the virtual racing, didn't they? I've played them since, and it makes your eyes hurt. The 3D.
Well, funny enough, Star Fox has now been ported to the Mega Drive without any software, any chip enhancements. But it's taken this many years to get it, and it's pretty good. It really is. It's not as good as the Super Nintendo, but you'll notice with the Super Nintendo version, if you look at the screen size of Star Fox, it's within a display, a frame, because they couldn't display polygons on a full screen to create the 3D effect. So it was shrunk down to give it that effect. It was very clever. And they had Mode 7 graphics as well, which worked with
like F-Zero and whatnot, didn't they? Yeah.
Pilot Wings, F-Zero, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when Gunstar Heroes came out on the Mega Drive, and it had that parallax effect with the background, and with some of the bosses where they turned around, kind of thing. And there was a big thing because the Super Nintendo could do that, and the Mega Drive couldn't. And yet here was the Mega Drive doing it. But that's the kind of clever things that developers had to do with things like the NES, the SNES, to get the most out of it.
Yeah,
So what's
considering it was released, like you said, 1989 in Japan, 1991. Did you say, Tom, or 1992 in the
it came out
91 in UK, 1990 in Japan.
1990 in Japan.
So
came out.
quite a while ago. So at the time, it was pretty
look.
in terms of the software compared to what came before. It was quite a bit of a jump, wasn't it? In terms of like
Apparently
Donkey Kong Country, I still feel looks good
It stands up, doesn't
today.
it?
Yeah,
Completely.
I do feel like 2D stands up better than 3D games when under certain
But even
certain-
Super Mario World that came out at the beginning of its cycle is still really cute, nice, lovely graphics that work really well.
they're good enough for what they need to be, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like the gameplay is good enough that you can get
And
away
it's
with the limited
smooth.
graphics.
And it was
I think
responsive.
Super Mario World was the pinnacle, was the or top of the mountain for 2D Mario games. I don't think anything's come close since.
Although some people are loving Super Mario Wonder and saying it is good. But yeah, I mean, I played Super Mario World and Super Mario World 2 this year, and I've completed Super Mario World for the first time ever. Never completed it before. And yeah, it's as platformers go, 2D platformers. Yeah, you won't get much better than that. Although there's some frustrating bits, mostly to do with the ghost levels. Those ones can
with the doors that move.
Yeah,
and things like
can go
that.
jump. No thanks. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I meant to do? I don't know what door I'm meant to do. I meant to do this, and then I accidentally found an invisible door and completed it, and I was like, oh, all right, there you go.
And that was that.
Yeah.
And then you're onto the jumping fence. I think is the next level.
I can't remember, but it's still fantastic. It was still a fantastic game, even with the ghost levels.
Yeah.
So what's your favourite game then? If you were to pick one game for the SNES,
Oh God, probably
Desert Island game.
Probably Axley or Super Mario Kart.
Axley.
Yeah, it was a side and scrolling shoot 'em up game similar to R-Type. Used Mode 7 graphics as well as scaling graphics, and so I think there was a couple of chips in there as well thrown in. It was a phenomenal game. It really was very easy to complete. But yeah, graphically it was amazing, and you can get it on Virtual Console now on the Super Nintendo, and it really stands up. It's a real fantastic game to play.
It's almost like I'm looking at pictures of it, almost like a cross between like R-Type and Space Harrier kind of thing.
Yeah.
But has side scrolling and vertical scrolling. Yeah,
it does both. And everything rotates, and the bosses are massive, and but there's so many. You've got Super Turrican. You've got
no.
There's
I said one. Martin, I'm going to go out on a limb. Donkey Kong Country 3.
Not number 3, probably the original.
Number 1.
The original.
Number 1.
Yeah. So it would be, I was thinking that or Link to the Past, but it would probably still be Donkey Kong Country, because
I think if you were to get a poll, I think Link to the Past would possibly win. That's a lot.
Yeah, but I think there is a lot of
game.
Zelda. There is a lot of Zelda bias, isn't there, in terms of anything Zelda, everyone necessary. I mean, there is a justification, but people just jump on the bandwagon that it's always going to be good. But I feel if you ask me now, play a Super Nintendo game, I'll choose to play Donkey Kong Country, the original, because it's just what you want from a Super Nintendo game, isn't it? Platformer, great gameplay, and it still holds up really well today. Like, I played the Link to the Past. I think it was on the Switch. I can't remember. One of them was, but I mean, it is good, but people, like you said, Duncan, there will be people who argue it's one of the greatest games.
It's if you go to IGN's top 100 SNES games, it is their number 1. Which
but it is IGN.
I'm just looking for Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country 2 was number 16, I'm failing to see. Oh, yeah, Donkey Kong Country was. I hate to say this. This is IGN, so take it however you want. Number 28.
Wow.
Yeah,
When
sorry
it
about
came
that.
out though, because it came out quite close to when we were going on to the next generation, wasn't it? The Donkey Kong countries.
Yeah.
And it was
It kind of
still,
expanded the lifespan of the SNES for a couple of years.
and it was
1994. It
it
came
was
out.
kind of like here's to Sega, look what we can do with our console.
Mm.
I mean, they did at the time. I remember them coming out and they looked amazing because, yeah, it wasn't cartoony. It looked almost, it's hard to explain how that kind of graphics looks, but yeah, it's almost like you were controlling a 3D character, but it wasn't.
For me,
Nowadays you do have 3D characters in 2D, but
Mm.
that looked like a CGI. It looked like a CGI character.
They rendered the characters outside of the game separately, so they were actually a 3D polygon. Then they implanted it into the game, and it was almost like stop motion. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very clever how they did it.
and for me,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
like
yeah, go on.
sorry, I was just going to say it's like the start of a very mini era of Rare, as in the game developer, just bringing out brilliant game, because they continued on to the N64, didn't they, with like Perfect Dark. I think that was Rare, wasn't it? GoldenEye,
Yeah, perfect.
Donkey Kong 64,
Banjo Kazooie, and
Banjo
all that.
Kazooie, Banjo Tooie. Yeah, so I don't know. It was when they got bought off by Microsoft, then they didn't seem to make as good games anymore. So I'm not going to blame Microsoft.
They're all sitting in their Ferraris in Dubai,
I know.
chilling. Interesting with the Super Nintendo though, and same with the Mega Drive to some extent. They had multiple box variation releases. So you'd have the console, and on the box you'd have like International Cricket or Street Fighter 2 or Super Mario or the 5-box release. And I think at my peak of collecting, I had something like 19 variations of console releases. But there are some, even to this day. International Cricket is an Australian release, and that fetches in the region of £700. I've seen it go for over 1,000. Super Mario Kart, the box release, is so rare you never find it. The UK version particularly, but and in Spain they had exclusive. Some of their Formula One drivers had exclusive releases for games. So they would take the Nigel Mansell F1 game, and they would implant their Spanish drivers onto the console, and it would become their game. And but yeah, it was.
So-
And the
so
Donkey Kong crate was amazing.
was
You
going to
would
say,
love that.
did the console look any different, or was it the same? Was it just the
No,
box?
completely the same. Yeah, you'd
So it
have
wasn't
things like
with the
Yeah,
Nintendo 64 when they brought out their was it like the Fantastic editions with the like the multiple color? You could get the jungle version and the
and the
Ray
Turtles
Logan,
one,
and
yeah,
then there was a
no,
Pokemon Pikachu one. Okay, so
yeah.
it's like the box variation, but
It was a box variation. I mean, I was about to say the Donkey Kong crate. Martin, you'd love it. It has a big Donkey Kong on the front, game poster, and it is just a phenomenal release. Probably the best one out of everything they ever released for the
have a
Super
look at it
Nintendo.
now.
It's a real nice piece of kit. Probably gets about £300 on eBay nowadays, and it's hard to get.
So you say
Really
the
is.
Mario Kart that's expensive is just the box standard original Mario Kart boxed?
It's got it's a console release, and the games inside the box are console, but essentially it's just the packaging is different. So, but yeah, that is one of my between repurchasing the Donkey Kong crate because I regret letting that go. But the UK Mario Kart release is one of my wants. I think that I will always want to get back.
Well,
purchase.
what about Pit Fighter? Would you want to buy that one if you got offered it?
I think I need another drink. Hold on.
Yeah,
Game.
it was a game. I never played it on the Super Nintendo, but I played it on the Spectrum, which I know people that don't know Pit Fighter. Pit Fighter was like the granddad of Mortal Kombat. really, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
It was. I think you could have up to about 3 or 4 characters on the screen. I think, but it was a side-on fighter, and it used photos of big muscly men kind of thing, and it was it was quite violent. It was an arcade game, but it was just all about the graphics because it wasn't a very good arcade game. And then it was ported to every single last device known to man. And unfortunately, for anybody who bought it, mostly abysmal, especially on the Super Nintendo, which
One of the worst games ever. In fact, PGA Tour Golf came very close on the Super Nintendo. The Mega Drive release of PGA Golf was amazing, but terrible graphics. PGA Tour Golf on the SNES looked like someone had got a crayon and just coloured everything in. But it was very addictive to play. I still have a copy upstairs. But yeah, guilty pleasure, that game.
I mean, I'm just looking up PGA Tour Golf for the Super Nintendo. And
Did you have a favourite game, Duncan, on the Super Nintendo? I know you said you.
I never owned one. Yeah, so I'm limited.
Any you've played since?
What I've played since in the last year, I played 2 Mario Worlds, and so it'd probably have to be Super Mario World, the initial one. It's a bit boring. I've other than the Game Boy Zelda, I've never really got into any other of the Zeldas. And Metroidvanias, even when I was younger, I used to get lost. So Metroid, I'm sorry, not for me. I'm going to have to go with Super Mario World.
Did any of you play Super Mario RPG? Because that's being re-released on the Switch.
I wasn't a fan.
Well, it was made by Square, wasn't it? Was it made by Square, I think? Because they have isn't that the game where they have a Square boss in it? I think. I believe it is.
It was on the similar vein to Donkey Kong in terms of graphics, wasn't it? It was very 3D polygon type characters. They really stood out.
Developed by Square.
Never liked the game though, unfortunately.
1996. Never played it myself. I do like JRPGs, but I just don't have the time to get into them nowadays. But maybe on my emulation journey, I might duck into that.
They are re-releasing it on the Switch, aren't they? So maybe, Duncan.
And it's called Super Mario RPG: The Legend of the Seven Stars. Ooh. Yeah, so it came out in 96. So
Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart on the.
Is that your favourite Mario Kart, Tom? Out of all the ones that have come after Mario 64, 64 Double Dash?
It's the hardest one. I mean, you look at Mario Kart 8. You can drive Mario Kart 8 around, and yes, things jump out at you, but they don't actually jump out at you. You can essentially miss them quite easily. But with the original Mario Kart, you've got to work through the game. And now on the virtual console, you actually can play online with your friends as well on the original game. And that opens up a whole new challenge.
Is Rainbow Road still as difficult as it was back then? I remember it was just. Then they brought the Nintendo 64 one, just completely had barriers up, so it was like they did it for kids, sort of thing. Whereas the Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart on the SNES was. This is for men or women, but it was you couldn't just drive around anywhere because
no, you had to work for it. You had to work for it. Interestingly, the wooden stage on the mushroom course, I had the record in CBG magazine for the fastest lap ever set on that game. So
nice,
and it still stands today. Probably doesn't.
well, they don't make the magazine anymore. So,
what was the record? Can you remember, Tom? Just
oh,
so
God,
I might go back and try and beat it.
I think it was something like 10, I think it was either 10, just short of 11 seconds around the track or something like that. It was
Is
pretty
Rainbow
fast.
Road the one where you can, in the 3D ones, you can cut out half the track,
What,
can't
like
you, or
by
something?
falling off the track at the right
Yeah.
place?
Yeah, can't do that on the SNES.
No, the SNES is flat, isn't it? There's no
Yeah.
ups and downs.
There's no ups and downs, but yeah, feel free, Martin. I think it was literally 1 second short of 11 seconds on a lap. It was quite fast. So
I'm just looking up to see if there is a record. SNES Rainbow Road 150cc, 17th of March YouTube video where they say 1 minute 26.162. But that is, that's Mario Kart 8. That's Mario Kart 8. So I can't find one still.
I
Oh,
found
no.
some of the
Yeah,
records.
Sammy holds the world record. So he uses Donkey Kong Jr. The videos below. Yep, 1 minute 26.64.
That's Rainbow Road then. And
That's
then
Rainbow
like
Road.
Tom's record on the wooden one on the mushroom.
I've
Did you
just
say the
found
mushroom?
it was the Ghost Valley 1, and it says the fastest lap time on Super Mario Kart listings is down as 12:06. So I actually did a lap faster than that. So, but
Nice.
obviously that's not going to be on this website. But yeah.
And who was your character?
Oh God, Cooper, I think it was the little
Good
toad-looking thing.
Cooper
I'm
Trooper.
always Cooper just because of my surname. It's the same. So,
It's either that or Mushroom. I was that on Mushroom. Right?
or
They
Toad,
seem to be.
was it?
Yeah, they weren't the fastest though. The
Yeah,
fastest was
with the
always
big
Mario
end.
or Luigi.
Yeah, because Donkey Kong and Bowser were just big units, weren't they? So, but
Yeah,
was it because I know if you used to hit into then, it would you would spin off, but I don't know if
Yeah.
that was the state in Super Mario, the original one. Only
Yeah,
played
because
it
they have 3 stats, don't they? They have acceleration, top
turning, I
speed,
think.
and then it's like the weight or the strength kind of thing, and that would affect your turning, and also if people smacked into you. If you were Bowser, you just carry on as if nothing happened, but you were slower. So
Donkey Kong and Bowser on the original, you'd start slow and then you'd be really, really fast, but they were hard to control. So you'd use the top buttons to kind of slide around. Whereas Mario and Luigi were just fast, full stop, but erratic in driving. Daisy was just a pain in the ass. And the Cooper and the Mushroom were just all general speed. They were fast. If you didn't hit anything, you were fine. If you did hit something, you just slow down and then start again. So yeah.
So here's an interesting question for you. I think mostly you, Tom, but also you, Martin. Right now, see if whether it's the hardware or the software. If you were offered and you didn't have either, a Super Nintendo or a Switch with access to Nintendo Online and all the ported, old versions, which would you go for? For free. If somebody said, "Here you go, there's one or the other."
Super Nintendo.
You'd go for the hardware, yeah?
Only because I own a Switch already.
No, I said if you don't own the other one.
No, Super Nintendo.
See,
all the way.
thought I was one step ahead there. You can't cheat me.
Yeah, Super
Martin,
Nintendo.
what about you? Would you go for the games or the collection of the hardware?
Probably the Switch. I would go
Yeah?
for just because.
You like the games?
I like the games.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
But I was going to say the last thing was really that at that time, see, Nintendo was the biggest console on the market, wasn't it? They had I think when the Nintendo or the NES was about 90% market share, and then I know the Sega Mega Drive sort of shaved a little bit off, but was still nowhere near as big as the Super Nintendo. But it wasn't until the Wii, wasn't it, after the Super Nintendo, where they were sort of got back to not that level, but where they were, selling a load of units again, because the Nintendo 64 and GameCube, for Nintendo standards, were a bit of a sort of failures in terms
hit
of
and miss. I just
Isn't
looked up.
the
Mega Drive was
Wii-
30 million sold.
What's the biggest selling console of all time? Is it the Switch or is it the Wii?
PS2, I think, isn't it?
Biggest. So I think PS2 is there. We Game Boy, all those kind of things. Yes,
it's
PlayStation 2, 155 million.
Yeah.
And some of these you can take the stats with a pinch of salt, but yeah, generally PlayStation 2, but then it's Nintendo DS, Nintendo Switch, Game Boy, like Nintendo Game Boy, then PlayStation 4, PlayStation Wii, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Game Boy Advance. So the SNES is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's behind the Xbox One, believe it or not.
That's
But
shocking.
there was less gamers. Back then,
Was.
let's face it, a lot of adults, not really any adults. It was a kid's toy, wasn't it? So it was bought for kids.
Yeah, it's a lot more mainstream now. It's like gaming is the equivalent of watching films nowadays,
Yeah.
isn't it? Whereas back then,
PlayStation 5 is about to overtake it, apparently.
that'd be
Yeah, they
sad.
released the new sales stats for the PlayStation today. I'll see if I've got them.
PlayStation 5 is on 46.6 and the SNES got to 49.1. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the Nintendo Game & Watch is sat there on 43.
yes,
Oh, I still own one of those. I've got
they're worth a fair bit.
Yeah, what have I got? Climber, which is an amazing Game & Watch game, but it's worth about £600. So
Nice.
if it's boxed, mine's not, and it's pretty damaged. I've had it since I was 11, so we're all good. Yeah, I'm never selling it.
But yeah, so I think the sales, sort of, they lie to what they look like. That lies a bit, really, because it was back in those days. The SNES was seen as a kid's toy, and parents bought them for kids. Yes, adults did play before anyone lynches me, but generally they were seen as a toy.
They were. Yeah. Nothing like a bit of WWF with your nieces and nephews and brothers.
Indeed. I didn't know any adults personally that played when I was, 12 years old. None. My parents certainly weren't interested. No. I think I was
like 2 when it came out, so I can't really remember.
I was 12.
Oh, blimey. Yeah, so I was 1 year older than that. Right, I think we haven't exhausted. We could probably talk about it individual games for hours, but yeah. So an interesting exploration of the Super Nintendo.
Well, perhaps post something on our Facebook group if anyone wants to share their Super Nintendo memories. Be interesting to hear your stories.
Put some gameplay up if you've got yours connected up.
Or any games that we may have missed.
Hey, here's a quick one. I don't own a Super Nintendo anymore.
Oh, is that one of the ones you unfortunately had to?
Yeah, I own a SNES Mini, but I don't own a Super Nintendo anymore.
So you could technically post a picture.
I will post a picture of the previous collection. How about that?
I unfortunately do not have, but I do have access to some of the games.
You do have a Switch, don't you? They're on the Switch, aren't they? Some of them.
That's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one.
I've got a Wii U as well with some SNES games on there. So
and a bit of Donkey Kong. So I won't be playing Mario's Missing because that was another terrible game. That wasn't really a proper Mario game. But yeah. Anyway, so I think I've got to say the words because YouTube will hear it. Like and subscribe. And I wonder if that actually happens now. I really should check YouTube to see if it happens where it flashes.
It didn't, when I watched the horror one, it didn't.
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe that's something that's coming
out.
But
then my mind was taken away because I was at that point I was googling TV listings for Christmas Eve 1989, trying to find that horror film.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking it might have been 1990 actually, but
you led me on a wild goose chase.
Yeah, I'm still looking. Do you know what? I started looking
Wikipedia
as well.
and like TV films, and I was like Woman in Black. That was ITV 1989. Maybe Tom got the channel wrong.
But it was a year I got the Game Boy and Super Mario Land. So, but I don't know if my parents made me wait a year or not.
If anyone who is listening knows, then comment.
Told you should get on Reddit.
Tom.
There's I don't know where the group is, but they're just magicians. I wish I could remember the name of the group, but it's something silly like "What's that movie?" or something. You know,
I'm a bit of an old fart. I don't use Reddit, or Discord. I don't understand them.
I don't understand Discord either. Me and Martin
No.
attempted that once, point, didn't we? We soon went, I don't know, should we move over to WhatsApp or Facebook or something? That's crazy, isn't it? That the old way, so to speak, is Facebook or WhatsApp or something.
MSN Messenger. Come on now.
Exactly.
Or ICQ. Do you remember ICQ?
Yeah. You could use you could bring other messengers into ICQ.
You could, yeah.
So
that's how I communicate with my friends in the USA with AOL and ICQ. So.
Going off topic a little bit, and then you had the chat rooms, didn't you? Remember the chat room back in
the day?
Who remembers MS Comic Chat?
I don't
know. It was literally you picked like a character and you just typed what you wanted to say, and it had boxes, and it would do like the chat was just different comic sections, and it was completely free. Probably full of paedophiles and all sorts back in the day, because we're talking early 90s, mid 90s, I think, kind of thing. So yeah, mid 90s, yes, something like that. It was, I don't think, very long lived, but yeah, it was great fun for a 13-year-old to have, or 15-year-old to have these things on the screen.
We used to go on EZ message boards, and you'd have like loads of different fan message boards, discussion forums, and GeoCities website builder.
Yes, I had a couple of them. All lost nowadays. Oh
well, I owned a blogging site back in the day called blogstuff.co.uk, and I remember selling it with 1 million active users.
Nice.
I can't remember what year, but it had all cartoon characters on it. So it was quite into it at the time, but you could make a cartoon avatar of yourself, and that would become part of the background of the blog and all things like that. And yeah, we ended up selling it to some American company. So
you could like chat to people with your avatar.
You could
almost make a blog with your.
You made a blog, and the avatar was your way of showing what you look like through a cartoon almost. It was so
it was like the sort of predating the me people on the Wii.
Oh yeah, way before that,
revolutionary. That stage.
It was. I was quite proud of that story, to be honest. So those are the days.
Bye. Well, you learn something new every day.
We do. So, and on that note,
I was going to say, lovely to chat to you all again.
Yes.
And if anyone's got any memories about Super Nintendo,
then let us know.
Let us know. Like and subscribe, leave a review, everything. Yeah, whatever you want to do, just do it. That's an order.
Make it so.
Right. I think if that's it. Bye.
See you all next time.